I'm Katie, and this is the Beer Coach channel. And today, I'm going to be talking about the difference between ales and lagers. But why listen to me? I am an Advanced Cicerone and a nationally ranked beer judge, and I really like talking about beer. So you grab one, and I'll grab mine, and we'll get started. Okay. Obviously, I need a beer for this. Cheers. Let's start with beer. Beer begins with starch dissolved in a liquid. A starch is broken down into sugars, and the sugars are consumed by the yeast. The yeast turns those sugars into alcohol and CO2, and then we have beer. And both ales and lagers are beers. So all ales are beers, but not all beers are ales. It's very much like a square and a rectangle. All squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. So then what is the difference between the ale and the lager that are both beers? The difference is the yeast strain that is used. Ale yeast, or Saccharomyces cerevisiae, works better at warmer temperatures, 60 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit, although there are strains that fall outside that range. And it's commonly referred to as top fermenting. This means it sits on top of the wort during the fermentation process, and the wort is the sugary liquid that is the beer before it turns into beer. Historically, ale yeast has been around a lot longer than lager yeast. It was cultivated over years of using the same vessels and tools in the brewing process and inoculating the wort that way. It wasn't until 1857 that Louis Pasteur proved that yeast was what was fermenting beer. And ale yeast didn't need to have temperature control, although it does taste better when we use it. But how does all of this affect what's in your glass? I like to explain it this way. If you're in your yard working and it's hot out versus if it's cool out, there's a very different output you have, right? Sweating and aromas. Same goes for yeast. So ale yeast working at warmer temperatures are going to have a lot more output. This output is called esters and phenolics. Generally, esters are fruit forward, and phenolics you can find in your spice cabinet. Historically, lagers are much younger than ales. Lager strains most likely evolved from ale strains fermenting at cooler temperatures over long periods of time. Lager beer styles are believed to have originated in the Bavarian region of Germany. This is located in the southeast area around the city of Munich. There are writings as early as the 1400s, but the history really established itself in the 1600s. There are stories about Bavarian monks brewing in the mountains and storing their beer cold to ferment in the caves. There are two laws that specifically helped push lager beer forward. One is the Reinheitsgebot, the German beer purity law of 1516, and the other was an edict that was passed in 1533 that commanded that beer only be brewed between the end of September and the beginning of April. So these are the cold months, which meant that fermentation was happening at cooler temperatures. Obviously, the birth of refrigeration really helped push lagering to new levels. Today, lagers are the most commonly brewed and drank beers. Lager yeast, or Saccharomyces pastorianus, works at cooler temperatures, 45 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. It is referred to as bottom fermenting, which means it's sitting at the bottom of the tank during the fermentation process. Another key detail is it can ferment the sugar molybiois, which ale yeast cannot. Again, the important part. how does all of this affect what's in my glass? With the cooler temperatures, the yeast is putting off less ester and phenolic character. Therefore, I'm going to have a lot crisper and cleaner finish in my glass. To sum it all up, both are beer and both are delicious. Please note, we didn't talk about color, bitterness, or alcohol strength, because both ales and lagers come in all shapes and sizes. We did not talk about hybrid beers, because ales could be brewed cold and lagers could be brewed warm. And there are wild beers out there too, because yeast is everywhere. We're not going there yet. So next time you're out, check to see if you're grabbing an ale or a lager, and let me know which one you like better. This has been the Beer Coach. Please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you want to be beer coached on next. Cheers.